I love you guys. Thank you so much for sending a slice of the Space Coast to me once a week over here in San Antonio, Texas.
A bird sings in a foggy field, the wind blows from the
So,
sea.
are you just going to ask me questions and I can answer it and then we'll go from there?
It's after 10 and a little pond's reflecting the tree.
And you can edit out anything that makes me look stupid.
I'll think about your pretty smile and what it could mean.
Or if I say something really messed up that needs to be gone.
A lot of times I look at you and I feel green.
I don't call no girls in the middle of the night. You got the wrong number. You tell me who you are.
Declan, you like the Foo Fighters? No.
The quick brown fox. Lazy dog.
Go get it.
Lazy dog. Yeah. Yeah.
All right, so we all sound okay.
Diction is stung with the tip of the tongue and the T. There. I don't know. That just sounds so such an uncomfortable thing to say.
Yeah. Sounds like you're on jacked up on coke.
Diction is stung with the tip of the tongue and the T.
Take it down. Take that down. Take that thing. Look at the thing. Did it?
I would go think that it's just the first syllable and then the second noun, dick and then tongue.
Oh, it doesn't go together.
Diction is done with the tip of the tongue
Tip of the tongue.
and the T.
Booga de Beppo.
The quasi-Italian restaurant.
Humana.
Humana, humana.
Hibida.
That's a lot of hullabaloo. That's a lot of rigmarole.
I know it.
How are we sounding?
Great. We're sounding great.
How are you sounding, sir?
All sounding great as well.
I think we're doing pretty good.
Hey.
Hey.
Top of the morning.
Oh,
Top of the morning.
Shiver me timbers.
cursed charms. What?
Curse charms.
Used to be so lucky.
They're after me, Lucky Charms. I ought to make a movie of that with Colin Farrell.
Right? Totally. I just watched a Colin Farrell movie. They were
In Bruges?
on an island, and his best friend just decided all of a sudden not to be his best friend anymore.
Very good
that
movie.
looks weird,
The
huh?
Banshees of Innis.
So good.
It was
So weird. dude.
Martin McDonough's. There's a great. I saw the message. It's such a good message behind that story.
He was also great. The actor you just mentioned.
Troy.
He was in the Gangs of New York. He was the Irishman.
They set his keys up on the thing.
Yeah, he
No one's
ended
gonna
up
touch
dying
him.
towards the end. He kind of took the wrong team at the very beginning. He wasn't part of the, or no, he joined the Rabbits. But then when the guy's Leonardo's dad died, he kind of shied in the background. He was like the leader to come up.
Was he bald?
Yeah, and he was the police officer at the end with the mallet.
Really? That was. Yeah.
And he was also teammates with the Step Brothers guy.
Yeah. He
Riley?
Yeah.
he died, and he was also the father in Billy Elliot.
That's right. Yeah,
that's right.
I love him, man. He's a great actor.
Oh, he's a good. Oh, yeah. He tough but soft at the same time.
One thing you're going to know about me when you talk to me on a podcast, I will know things, but it's like the guy from the thing, and then it's trying to figure out the guy from the thing. I can never remember these guys' names.
We got the Encyclopedia Cinema here.
the
Yeah.
clarifier.
We got Jay.
We do.
So, what are we, episode 172?
In a doobity doo.
And a doobity-doo. 172.
Yes.
How do you do? Episode 172 of Just the Mic podcast. Welcome. Colleen could not make it with us today. I'm one of your co-hosts, Mr. Scott Geiser, and we have Pressure T, Mr.
Yo.
T,
Hello.
we got Tedward Kilogram. We have every cool name in the book to my left over here. Thanks for coming, T. How you doing, man?
Super duper.
Awesome.
Good.
And
yeah.
You you found somebody thumbing up the road or something that you knew, and you said he knew things.
Yeah, he just wanted to ride, and I was like, okay, give me some cinema facts and et cetera.
Yeah, you gave him the whole story. You gave him the whole pat down. You made sure he was safe coming
Yeah.
in, you know. A little gnarly. I was like, whoa, who's this guy? you're bringing
From
in?
the way that he looks, that wild eye thing.
Yeah, he had the little one eye and the eye patch. It's kind of
Yeah.
gnarly, you know.
But he's here. That's him chuckling.
Mr. Che, how you doing, man?
Pretty good. Thanks for having me.
Did we build that up properly?
You build it up well.
Awesome, man.
I just happen to know things.
We won't remember it, and then next time it'll be totally different. We promise.
Oh, that'll change.
It was perfect. Well, thanks for joining us, man.
Thank
T,
you.
Thanks for setting us up. I know we tried to catch you a few times, but we haven't been able to. But I'm glad we've been able to tonight.
I appreciate you guys having me here.
Yeah, no problem, man. Thanks
Yeah.
for coming. I feel like there's something we were talking about before we started recording. Is I think we just need to. Pee Wee Herman died, man.
Yeah, I know.
Hat tip. Entertainer.
Do you guys have Pee Wee Herman memories or stories or like Pee Wee Herman is one of those guys I feel like that something happened in your life that you saw him and he made you laugh in some way and it stuck with you. He's that type of guy, right?
Yeah.
What about you, Che? Do you have like a memory of Pee Wee Herman?
Well, like, the first time I saw a movie with
Big Adventure?
Pee Wee. I was thinking of Paul Reuben's the actor, but like
Yep.
Pee Wee Herman the character.
Yep.
I remember I saw the movie as a kid. This was like years after he came out, maybe a decade.
And
or
let me
so.
just before I'm sitting there calling him Pee Wee Herman the whole time, and Mr. Che over here is like Paul Reuben,
Yeah.
the actor
There you go.
himself. Let's throw some respect.
True.
Oh, no,
And I'm with you 1,000%. That's so true. I needed to back that up and say that. My memory is Pee Wee Herman. That's how I know him, and my fondness. So continue, sir. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay because I don't know if you were like talking specifically about the character.
Yeah.
No, I saw Pee Wee. I saw Pee Wee's Big Adventure.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like 10, 12 years after it was released. But the one scene that it was just ironic because this one scene was imprinted on me because he went to see the Alamo.
Yeah.
I forgot some sort of question, but he kind of humiliated himself in front of the tour guide. He asked a question, and the tour guide corrected him, and that just left him all shaking.
Yeah.
And at that time, it was like one of the first times I wrote an actual paper and like a little essay.
Yeah.
When I was in elementary school, and it was exactly about the Alamo.
Oh, okay.
And so just at the same time that happened.
So you were writing something about the Alamo. He's at the Alamo. He's getting corrected. You're doing a little piece on that, so they hit home with you.
Exactly. In fact, I was just I remember I was in the house on the kitchen table, and I was just going through books about the Alamo, the teacher that provided,
Yeah.
and at the same time, the television was playing the movie, and just by coincidence,
That's funny.
But that's the only thing I saw of Pee Wee Herman. But movies of Paul Reuben's, the first movie I later saw him in another movies with Johnny Depp. It's called
Ooh, I can pull something up.
he played a dealer. Blow. There you go.
Oh yeah, Blow.
Yeah.
I was just thinking that too, and you said Johnny Depp, and I went blank. Such a good movie, man. He played a good part in that movie. That movie was fantastic.
Oh yeah, it was. Oof.
It was
And-
such a change to the character that I was used to, but it was like refreshing. He was still just captivating on screen. He played a cool role. It was great. I love him, man.
Oh no, it's like he did a great job. Johnny Depp, he did a great job, and so did Paul Rubens. He played the relaxed Californian pot dealer.
Yeah.
And but that's crazy. When we started talking about Paul Rubens, you referred to him as Pee Wee Herman because that's who you remember him as.
Yeah, that's who he is for me.
And Johnny Depp, what makes him such an amazing actor is that you'll remember him. Well, I remember him.
Grapes.
Sorry.
Sorry, grapes.
Right.
Gilbert Grapes.
Oh yeah, was eating earlier. Yeah. Oh, I was like, I remember him for like Edward Scissorhands or.
Oh yeah.
But even Sleepy Hollow. So when I saw him in the movie Below, I was like, oh, that's Ichabod Crane dealing drugs.
Yeah, totally right.
But that's Johnny Depp. He every movie that I seen him in, especially when I was a kid, he's like a completely different personality.
Yeah.
And it's like, this is the same guy.
It's pretty amazing how there's so many actors out there, but there's only a few that can that have some range in them. They can be captivating in many different ways. And I mean, he might not have been this A-list guy that's top of the food chain getting all the roles he wants, but whenever he was in a role, man, he was memorable for it. And I always liked it, man. I just loved the guy, man. He was I never really heard him on a podcast, or never really heard him, talk as a normal person. So I only know him in very, movie and TV land. But it's still, I mean, I think the point of movies in general, the thing that we all can say, like, it's easy to say, oh, I just like it because it's a movie. But for many people, especially I feel like in the generation that I grew up in, where color TVs are just coming out, VCRs are just coming out, you can steal cable, to watch things. You have Andrew Dice Clay and Eddie Murphy putting out their comedy series. You got, Red Fox and what's Monty's Billions? What's Richard Pryor? The Toy.
Oh, yeah.
Remember the Toy?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
All these crazy, hilarious, banterish kind of things, and for me as a kid, that was a time I cherished, when was having the TV to myself and watching all this stuff. Because we only had, I think, a couple TVs, but Mom would be watching soap operas. You get home, we had to watch Ninja Turtles for my brother. You know what I mean? Gumby, all this crazy stuff that I love, but still, like, I want to watch what I want to watch. Pee Wee Herman was one of the things that I got to watch, and that was Pee Wee's Playhouse.
Yep.
And there was the whole setup and the theme, and you had Cherry and Clocky and Missy Vaughn, and you had all the male people. You had the little dude that was in the box. I don't even remember the Mecca High, Mecca High Ho.
Oh, yeah.
Mecca High, Mecca Tiny Ho.
Wow, that's a long time.
I wonder if we can make that
show.
sound.
Pee Wee's Playhouse, jeez.
We tried.
That was terrible. I have the wrong thing on there. I got to retweak all this. I had it all tweaked, T. Dang it.
If a fizzy doesn't succeed.
But Pee Wee's Playhouse they always had the word of the day. Okay, and if anybody said the word, at the beginning of the thing, then everything would just go haywire. I don't know if y'all remember this. Did y'all watch this at all?
When you're saying it, I'm remembering it.
And there was always just this theme of each day of what Pee Wee Herman was doing. Like, and he had that little tie on the thing.
Yep.
And on the Pee Wee Herman movie, he did that little dance where he pointed his schween in his butt, and kind of da. And that was like when I was a kid, I was a skinny little kid, and I loved Pee Wee Herman so much. My parents would make me in front of their friends do the Pee Wee dance because I was good at it, and I would do the one tippy toe, and I'd point at my things, and just go up and down and walk, and they'd laugh at me, and I loved it.
What year was that?
Probably late 80s, probably 87, 88. I'm just a kid, probably 7, 8, 9, 10 years old. Just that was my stuff, man. That's what I watched. That and G.I. Joe and.
I don't know. I saw I saw like a couple of episodes of Pee Wee's Playhouse, but it was like it must have been a rerun or a saved episode, or because it was at a friend's house. Because that's that very same dance he described, my friend used to do it when I hang out at his house. Like, what is that? What's wrong with you?
I wish I could play it on here legally right now, just to play it, but it was really the best.
But still, I mean, man, how time flies by. At 72, he passed away.
And it's yeah, man, and I can't believe it. And it was a cancer. He died of cancer. He didn't do a whole lot. I think he probably did. When you look at all the movies, it looks like he's done a ton. But it's like there was a few roles that it seemed like they really were the ones, man.
Well, I mean, he was also in the. Yeah, I haven't he had bit roles in Tim Burton movies. Like he played the Penguin's father. He had like a short role, like less than a minute. in Batman Returns, he played one of the devious trick or treaters from Nightmare Before Christmas. You know, kidnap the Santa Claus. He was one of the voices singing.
Okay.
Locke. It was Locke.
Okay. He's in Flight of the Navigator. Back in the day, I didn't know that. Very interesting, man. But so Pee Wee Herman, he's gone.
Hat tip.
Sorry, yeah, big time, man. So how's it going, man? How you been?
That's pretty good. Normally I prefer to be having my exercising outside when it's less hot, but during the evening it's been raining almost.
It's been every evening. It's raining. I try to get even when I'm mowing the grass right now. I know when I come home from work when I like to. That's when I'll run out there and get it done. Try and take lunch breaks to get that done because it's going to rain in the afternoon. I mean, we need the rain. It's nice to have. It's I've been kind of on the go too. We've had family here all weekend. My sister lives over in Arcadia, and isn't able to get away too much. She's doing school with nutrition and all this. She's doing great. Her and her fiance Javier came over, and their daughter, my little niece Kelsey, and just had a blast, man. We had a little pool party here with some family on Saturday. A little fire pit going outside, kids running around, good food. It was just a blast.
Nice.
Dogs running around trying to attack kids attacking dogs. Very successful. And then Sunday we went out to the beach. T, and I wanted to bring you into this one, is get my daughter there. Waves are about 2 foot, 3 foot at some points.
I saw that. Yep.
And a bunch of photographers out there, a bunch of female surfers out there. We were at number 3, and Gary was at 3 and was walking down towards us and saw us and paddled out. We were out past the sandbar with my daughter. She was catching some, man. One of them made her wide-eyed her, man. It was a little bigger than she was expecting. And when she was she was in the perfect place just to pop up and go, But she went wide-eyed and held onto the board and freaked out and did a little tumble.
Yeah.
I saw it. I died laughing because we were in a perfect safe place for this because it was it got deep right there where it was popping down, so you could just tumble down and be okay, Oh, it was fantastic. But Gary paddled out, and it was kind of a magical moment, man. He got to sit out there with Allie. He gave Allie his board to try, catch a couple, and back to hers, and it was just awesome.
In your photo, a few little right sliders.
Yeah. And man, some of these girls were fantastic. You should, man. It was like a competition out there. It was awesome, man. These girls were rocking it, man.
Neat.
And Gary's like, yeah, that's this guy. I know this photographer guy. Then he's up there talking all the old salts, that have been out there for years. It was an awesome weekend all the way around.
That was good.
And Monday morning, here we are. Monday, back to work and
last day of July.
Podcasting tonight. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I haven't had the luck to go to Playalinda. I was in the past week. I was dog sitting. Not dog sitting. Cat sitting for my uncle in Melbourne, and he literally lives right next to the beach.
Oh,
and
perfect.
every morning, just go to 7, 8 in the morning, just stepping right on that sand, and it's just one of the perfect.
Being in Florida on the coast, it's the best thing. It's my favorite place probably to go and be. If someone says, let's go to Playalinda, if I can get away and go, I'm going to go. I love swimming in the water. I love being there. I love everything about it. From birth, my mother's got pictures, of being pregnant, laying out on the beach, with me right there with her, and I love everything about going out there. The drive out there is perfect. If it's a long line, sometimes it's a bummer, but most of the time I'm lucky, man. I don't want to jinx myself, but I got the magic touch, man. When I'm driving, whatever time I'm going out there, it might not be the earliest or the fastest time, but I
catch a window
right through.
Nice.
Right through. And it's just a beautiful drive, man. All the nature, it just kind of throw some music on, throw all the windows down. On the way back, we got our water jugs in the back of the car to give us a little fresh water plunge before we jump in the car and crank the AC up and ride back, and everybody's tired and hungry, and
That's the best. That's the best.
it is for me, man.
I
It
like.
really is.
Yes, you can't go wrong with going, especially like a place like Playalinda.
Yeah.
Yeah, even as a kid, when we wake up early in the morning, getting there, spend like most of the day at the beach, and we always had those rules, put on the suntan, and
Yeah.
like when we get back in the car, we had to always wet our feet with with fresh water before we.
Yeah.
It's always the same procedure, but we always got pizza or KFC right after. The same KFC that's still there,
Right.
And
Right.
even.
We used to do that KFC all the time. We do the Burger King. We used to hit up. Now Moonlight's our thing. We go to Moonlight.
I love Moonlight.
We go through the drive-through. We don't got to get out. They bring us our burgers, tots, and a awesome shake. And we're driving back. The shake's topping it off. Everybody's happy. We jump in the pool out back, get that extra fresh, plunge, and then everybody goes to their little rooms to nap.
Yeah, you fall out.
Yeah, it's perfect, man. It's special to be able to live in that little circle.
Oh, I mean, even after work, I would I finished working like 4 or 5 o'clock. Even though, what time did Playalinda close? Like at 8 o'clock, or like
I think it's dawn 8 o'clock right now. I think it kind of adjusts, right?
like you have to be out start leaving around 6 o'clock or
I
something.
think they start. Yeah, I think they start beating people, right? They shoot them with the rock salt, I think, or something until they.
Hey, they used to lock you in if you hung out too long, and you have to deal with the skeets, and they'd leave you hanging like back in the 80s and
Would they
stuff. Oh, yeah. It's like a punishment.
They really did that.
Yeah.
So you couldn't, someone could drive to the gate, you could jump the gate and get out still and just come get your car the next day.
Then, when you go to that one gate by the railroad there, and you look to the left, and there's an extension of it.
Yep.
I was there because my buddy in the 80s, we drove around it. Early, they didn't unlock the gate on time. He's like, I got 4-wheel drive. We're going through the ditch.
Oh man, that's funny. We used
Juarez.
to fit. There's a barge out there. Did you know that?
No, there's a barge.
There's a sunken barge out there.
Yeah, the one that Crane walks all the way down through all the nudies to get to.
Oh, that's a barge.
Way down there.
Yeah,
it's a sunken.
like old sunken boat or barge.
It's busted up in
I always
two
thought
pieces.
It was a barge.
I thought my brothers were. I thought that was a joke by my brothers just to get me to walk that far as a prank.
No, you can catch fish that hang out by reefs and
Different
stuff.
kind of fish.
Yeah, you catch an eyeful.
Trouser trout. We're in high school, and we all fish. We're wade fishing. We do all the stuff. My dad's always been an avid surf fisherman, like going, in the Pompano or running in the winter. So beach fishing has just been a thing we've always loved to do. It's just a lot of fun. And we came up with the idea. We knew the barge was down there. We'd get our backpack set up. We'd get some ice things and some Ziplocs. So we'd go down there, and anything we needed to bring back, we didn't want to have to carry something big with us, So, is that me?
Nope.
Oh, that's fine.
That's not my.
It's Falcor. That's me. It's way out there. Sorry.
Have you heard?
Way out there. Sorry. I love it.
Couldn't have been mine. Have you heard mine? If you heard mine, it'd be awesome. You know it'd be mine.
Is it?
Oh man. So we got these backpacks and everything, and 7 or 8 of us, we just would. They used to have that trail for 4-wheelers on the
backside,
on the backside of the dunes,
the old road.
So you didn't have to go over, and weave through the peeps. You just go, and you'd walk forward. We time it like 35, 40 minutes. Then you go over. There's one little part you can see. You can go over. Boom, there it is. And we would fish on both sides. We were catching redfish like all day there. One time we caught a whole bunch of mackerel, Spanish mackerel, pompano. I mean, it was amazing fishing. Surfers would go down there. We had a couple surfers go down there once and paddle out there, and surf off the.
Once in a while,
break.
it'll work a little bit, but I guess the best time for fishing is when you got a super mellow little swell, and it's got the deep
So it's
spot.
not all rough, but even when it was rough, we went out there once and we were hitting like huge sheephead and
because of that reef.
exactly
Yeah.
everything. And nobody fishes down there, so it's kind of
You just got to walk your ass
bulk,
off to get
yeah.
to it. Yeah.
And when you're down there though, you'll look down the beach and you'll start seeing these little shadow people getting closer to you, and then you're like, oh, no clothes. And then you and your buddies would always be like, how close are they going to get? You think they're going to come all the way up to you? Because sometimes we've had them within a couple 100 yards before they turned around, and we're like, oh, and we'd all turn around like, no, look the other way.
Jeez.
Oh man, I love it. And then we'd always fish at Eddy Creek.
I do. Is that any close to Mosquito Lagoon or?
Yeah, I think
It's like number 7 or 8. It's like on the other side of the dune, you know. But yeah, it's part of Mosquito Lagoon.
it's Eddie. My uncle Ron used to fish. There's a little hole there, right there in Eddy Creek, and like he used to. I'm telling you, just with crazy
Slaying it, huh?
equipment, just bringing these huge grouper up out of this hole. And before you know it, he was doing it. Before you know it, there would be 10, 15 people
Ringing it.
all sitting there pulling up grouper. I caught one over there once. We loved fishing over there. My dad used to always take me.
Nice.
And 7 is where me and Allie like to go a lot too when she was younger.
There's an old story I heard once.
Hobo Willie.
Somebody said that during World War II that hole connected through the reef to the ocean and it breathed, and they had to fill it up with train cars to keep anybody from like a wetsuit guy, whatever, scuba guy coming in. And
That makes sense. Like, and it's
I don't know if that's
deep.
true,
Like,
but
it's real deep there.
interesting. Yeah.
That is. What if there was? How else was the grouper getting in there? I mean, other than if that was opened up at some point.
Well, they come through the inlet up north.
Oh, okay.
And then
They'll
probably
just
hang
come
out
up in there. They found a deep spot. They can grow down there.
We got to get a fish expert on here, huh?
We do.
You know, I've seen a lobster come out of there.
Really?
Yep, a little lobster. This guy named Georgie, they caught a lobster there.
Oh,
yeah.
I know that name.
Yeah.
I know him, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very, very cool.
Well, that's the show. Thanks for listening.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk to you later. T, what you been up to, man?
Grinding.
Yeah, you've been
grinding.
working on the production stuff, right?
Yeah, in the yard, in the studio, trying to get the studio back together because it's coming up on a year.
I mean, we had a hurricane last year
Don't.
that put T underwater, as you know. You were over there too, right?
Oh yeah, it's we had to get a canoe just to get to the driveway.
How was that experience? Is that something you've ever had to deal with before?
Never. I mean, those close, like the closest thing I ever did something like that. I was in the 5th grade. We did something called the mud walk,
Okay.
and I don't remember where we went in Florida, but we were in the woods and we were like waist deep in this basically wet mud. Like it was
Those little mud runs, the 5K kind of things where you got a tough mud and things.
Well, we had to put on like a black trash bags.
Okay.
Like like you're doing the little those little.
This sounds interesting.
Like those what do you call those races where you get your half
Like
your
a potato race?
the potato
sack?
Yeah, and you had to hop your way.
Yeah.
Well, something like that. But we trimmed the bottom where our legs can go through. But basically, it looked like a
Like a human seal?
yeah, it looked like a swamp, but instead of water, it's just this thick mud that you walk through. And eventually, we got into the water to clean fresh, to fresh water. And then after that, we got to the bus. We dried ourselves, and we got home. When I got home, I bathed properly, but going back to
I soaked it. I just left it on, helps the skin.
I know with my parents, as soon as I got home, right now to the bathtub.
Yeah.
But when I, but after
To the bathtub.
after Hurricane Ian, like the water was like up to your knees, maybe a little past your knees. So
Okay.
I couldn't even get my car out of there.
Oh, man.
Like I have to drive to go to work, but my car wasn't going anywhere. I even missed a concert. I was gonna go see the Orlando Philharmonic Orchestra play Gustav Holst's The Planets, and
wow.
I really, really wanted to see it. I
Denied.
I was denied.
You were not willing to swim
I was not
for the concert. That's real dedication.
I
Showing
didn't
up to
have
the concert, soaking wet, mosquitoes with you, everything. Just, I'm here for the show.
Dude, I would go to the Dr. Phillips Center, and I've done this. I've gone there in jeans.
Yeah.
I've seen people dress very nicely, and it's a nice thing to dress nicely for these events. I just that's just not me. It's not like I dress like I go there with ripped jeans. I just show there in my cargo pants or my jeans with simple shoes and shirt.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I couldn't go to the concerts because I couldn't get my car out of the driveway. And meanwhile, the Dr. Phillips Center sent me a voice message saying, "We will continue playing the orchestra as scheduled." Of like, great, I'm gonna miss this
Thanks a
one.
lot.
Yeah, and
Now I got to watch it on YouTube.
I was like, I'm gonna miss it, and I can't get a refund. So that's just me missing the concert. Even though I paid.
Just wait till VR comes out.
VR?
And global warming is doing its thing right. And
jeez.
everybody who's all the full global warming people are like, "We told you so." And then we're all in deep water, and then you're like in a haptic suit in VR at the Philharmonic, just rocking it, and everything's chaos, but you're up there in VR, safe. You can see everything live. It's gonna happen. It's gonna have to be that way one day.
One day it will be. Hopefully. Just.
I'll tell you this, T. Both of you guys, you should know this. You've seen the Spider-Verse movie? The one with Miles Morales.
I haven't.
The animated. It's a really good series, and it's they're going through the multiverse. So there's different Spider-Mans, and one of the themes of it is like everybody can be a Spider-Man, right? Is a hero. And so they have like the Spider Pig, they got the Spider, all these different people, and there's different realms and different paths, or different, skills and life experiences. If we had that here, you would be coming to the Philharmonic to see me play, because I was a magical viola player.
Oh yeah.
In middle school,
yeah.
first chair, all county.
Fire fingers.
I was the guy. Miss Atwell was my teacher. We'd play. This is where I knew you're into music, and like you threw a little thing. It's classical music as a whole. Mm-hmm. You're very versed in it.
More of it's like, I'm basic on his history, like mainly on the composers. On musical theory, not that proficient, but. When it comes to discussing composers and their work and the times in their lives, yeah.
Do you play the violin too?
Unfortunately, I can't play
magical way. Like T can play any instrument, like anything that you put out there, he can play it and figure it out.
Oh no, T. I mean, he.
See, told you.
Beethoven.
Told you.
Fifth Symphony, first movement. Fate. That's cool. No,
told you I had it all tweaked perfectly. Sound.
I can dabble on the guitar, but
cool.
I'm more on the history and facts on composers. But unfortunately, I'm still practicing. But
so there's the. I just remember as a kid, we got like after my third year, because up there middle school was 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, and my freshman year, this is how it worked. There was the band, and it was full already. You could not get in the band if you wanted to. Like their parents, everybody pre-booked band, the coolest music, thing. Then there was chorus. I could not sing. I cannot sing. I was not singing. I was embarrassed to sing. Then there was orchestra. And on the orchestra side, we're like, oh no, we don't want to be in the orchestra because then we're nerds, right? But our orchestra, there's these two just beautiful little, we're kids. We're like, these chicks are so hot. We're joining. My friend Jason was already a pretty good bass player. My friend Bobby Castleman was like, I'm going to do the cello. And then I was like, everybody was doing the violin, and I'm like, I'll do the viola because no other people were viola. It was like a deeper. I'm like, at least I'm not like I'm a little more manly as I'm 12 or 13 here trying to, process being a kid, right? What's cool or not. I ended up getting really good at it, and by my third year, it was so cool. Sitting there with the teacher, in the morning before school started and being able to play. I think it was like the Beethoven concertos. There was like 7, 9, and 13 or something. Like there was like 3 or 4 of them that are really popular. And I was getting pretty good at reading music. I was never great at tuning. She'd always have to tweak and help me with the full tuning. But I could sit there and roll with her for multiple pages. And that was what I felt like I was coolest about, even more than doing it in front of people or at the little concerts and shit. That's my memory as a kid, is the Beethoven concertos. There's like 2 or 3 of them.
Oh no, yeah, it's well, I mean that's understandable. Like even when I was in I did band when I was in middle school, 6th, 7th, 8th grade. I was in percussion.
Okay.
We started off with bells. Then he moved us to snare drum, bass drum.
That's cool.
Then dabbled a bit with xylophones. We got excited when he brought in a gong. Which it's like we just wanted to hit the thing, but
we got one.
The thing is, like, because we wanted to, for one of our concerts, we played the theme from Lord of the Rings.
Oh,
and
cool.
at the very end, one of us had to hit the gong. But he told me, like, you just can't hit it. There are areas of the gong for certain, for certain sound that you want.
Tones, yep.
And so I got lucky to hit the gong because the other ones got to play the snare drum. So I was like, all right, I'll do the other timpani and. But
I would have been cowbell. I'd be a cowbell guy.
Oh, you can get enough of cowbell,
right? That's right. More.
But the most embarrassing instrument. I shouldn't say embarrassing, but all instruments play a part. All sounds have a part. But whether else, I remember I had there were 3 or 4 of us in percussion, and for one song, one of us had to play the triangle, and
Dinner time.
little thing, and I'm like ding ding ding.
You sit in front of your parents. You're like, I'm so proud.
There's like all these parents staring at this. One of us just had to pick this thing up. It was the flutes. The flutes were playing something like Galaxy. It was like some sort of space themed tune. This was when I was in the 6th or 7th grade, but I had to. I volunteer. I end up volunteering to do all of these things.
Yeah, that's how it usually works.
But I pick up the thing, and while the flutes were playing their segue, I had to go ding 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 and just repeat it 2 more times.
Were you like in your head, like at home at night, just thinking ding 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 ding? Just for weeks, man, just preparing for it. Like, I'm gonna rock these triangles.
Like, I'm gonna get the rhythm, man.
Yeah,
like 3 dings, 3 times. You got this, dude. You got this.
You got this, dude. Don't mess up. Don't mess up. I was so built up in my head on how cool I thought I was at playing music, right? That when I asked my mom later in life, like on the show, we called her, on the podcast, and we're like, "Hey, do you remember when your son was, my co-hosts were like, hey, do you remember when your son was playing the viola back in the day? And she's like, yeah, I remember here's my memory. She goes, we went to one of the Christmas events, and I was sitting there, and we were right up front to watch you, and I don't remember you playing, but this kid was picking his nose the whole time, and it was hilarious. We were talking. All us parents were giggling on this kid that was sitting over here picking his nose.
While you're doing this,
and I'm sitting here just like
playing your heart out.
One eye looking at her like, please love me, Mom.
You're playing your heart out on the viola, but they remember a kid picking.
I mean, is that like from like you love music? That's part of like the struggle, right? A musician. Like I'm sitting here just playing my heart out, just wanting people to notice me and love me, and vibe with me, and they just like kids picking his nose. That's funny.
So let's chip into that. All these kooks throwing shit at people performing lately. Have you heard about all that?
I saw the good topic.
Busted
by the
in
way.
the
That's-
face
thank
by a phone.
you. That Cardi-B or
Yeah,
something.
yeah,
The
she-
only thing that I know, there's no judgment because I don't know what happened. It's all she was walking on stage. Someone threw something. She turned around and threw a microphone and hit somebody with the whole microphone.
Wait, did they throw something at her first?
I would think so, but I don't know for sure. I didn't really get the dig on that, but I did see, and I know that there's a trend, like things get viral, like on TikTok per se. Like there's like us as humans have this hive mentality sometimes, or you see something and it gets attention, and then somebody else is going to do it for the attention because we want that attention.
So
and usually, and I don't know if this is TikTok. I'm just totally making because there's so many things that are TikTok. But usually one thing happens, and then all of a sudden this starts happening all over the place because then they share it and redo it, and then everybody gets 1 million downloads, and then they're rich. Then you move into your mansion.
That's what's what it means to be viral, or
Yeah, I mean that's the viral life now. I mean that's the new famous person in a way.
I'm famous for a mishap.
There's a few kids, there's a few people through movies and TV shows, but usually it's through you're like. Mr. Beast is one of the biggest and most valuable entertainers, I probably would say, in the world right now.
Yeah, he's a wizard.
And these guys that are number 1 and 2 on YouTube, it's absolutely insane the money that they make, and it's awesome. I mean, they probably should make more with the value that they're probably bringing to the companies that are. I mean, you're driving so much, so many people to your website. You're just fun on it, then advertise the crap out of it. We're going to go on a break because T wants to play, take some phone calls. All right, T, have fun, man. I like your shirt, though. You wear a nice shirt.
Thank you.
I like the button up, too. We should just keep talking, let him walk away.
All right.
Be awkward. We're just going to keep going.
I just
I think he was pooping. And that's where the phone's at because it's all echoey. Because I think I've pooped before in that bathroom and left the phone, and it gives the same distance echo.
It's I've seen this whole thing with Cardi-B.
Yeah.
So what it was about someone throwing. Who was it? Was Cardi-B throwing something at the audience, or the audience throwing Cardi-B?
I think. Do you know more about that, T? Who threw the stuff first?
Oh, I don't know the particulars about Cardi B's thing, but I just kind of browsed the news, I guess, past couple of days, and there's a string of artists who are, they're getting clocked by people throwing things. You shouldn't be doing all that. You're trying to catch a vibe and lift it up at the show, but they're throwing things at someone's face, hit them in the eye, give them some stitches or something. It's just, it ain't cool.
Jeez.
You get in comedy, you got hecklers, right? And you got people that'll heckle. And I've been at shows where there's been hecklers. I was at one in downtown Titusville when Ross McCoy, they're playing games. They were doing some creative, different things, and there was like a local at the bar there getting like way over drinking, talking, and this was one of those, one of those events where you don't want to be that guy that's talking during the show because everybody else is paying attention and didn't care. And finally, the thing blew up and it turned into a whole scene, And it was comedy afterwards because we all had to laugh about the situation. It's like, hey, purple shirt, get the hell out of here, purple shirt. And everybody's like, purple shirt, purple shirt. So, it can be a fun thing, but words are one thing. Actual throwing things like at basketball events, you see people throw things into the, that's why when you go to a basketball game and you get a drink of water in a water bottle, they take the bottle cap and they keep it. And they hand you the water because they cannot give you the bottle cap because that bottle cap will 100% somehow make it onto that floor to be thrown at somebody or, as a prank or something, and it will cause chaos.
Jeez.
It's like there's always got to be that guy that's, doing the titty twisters and the grinders.
The thing is, and when it comes to hecklers, these things have, whether it's berating or just whether it's simply someone incredibly drunk or
Yep.
people who are just can't control themselves during a performance. It's been going on since I mean, these things aren't new, but the thing is nowadays with the technology we have, we can be able to capture them. And
Very good point.
seems so like with the technology we have, it looks like it's happening frequently, but if you looking back, we only have perhaps the most known of the heckling and the crazy commotions that have happened in performances, like whether it's like in 1913s, when Stravinsky released The Rite of Spring. The reason why there was a huge commotion about it was that it was a ballet that was about a human sacrifice, which is something that no one has ever written before. Not only that, but the music itself was just so frightening and barbaric, even in the modernist fauvistic, even if fauvists were more of writers and painters, but I guess it can extend to music. But with Stravinsky's ballet, from the beginning to the end, just people constantly screaming. There were those who are saying this isn't art, this is trash, and those who are saying, shut up, let's keep playing. And it ended up into, as historians say, a riot. And I think I won't confirm this. I think I read something that Stravinsky had to be escorted, had to get out through a window or something. I think, but I don't recall. I'm not sure. I had to go back on that.
Yeah.
But Diaghilev, the impresario, the guy who put on these Russian ballets, he said that's the reaction was exactly what he wanted.
Gotcha.
But when the
Wow.
Rite of Spring premiered, like months later or a year later, I think before the First World War, after the First World War, it became more accepted. But Stravinsky himself, not only like through heckles on his one of his most famous ballets, because before the Rite of Spring he was famous for he already achieved popularity with the Firebird, which stayed to the classical standards. It didn't deviate much into new modern tunes and atmospheres like the Rite of Spring did. But he already had reached a height of popularity with the Rite of Spring because it was completely daring, so daring that it enticed heckling.
Oh.
Contrary to what I've seen, I saw this video not too long ago when the new Little Mermaid came out. The whole controversy about the actress who played Ariel, about the skin color. I saw the person who was recording the movie or recording the situation that was happening in the theater, that people were arguing in the middle of the movie.
Wow.
Due to that very same controversy, like we went like the changes,
Like in person, and maybe is the internet desensitizing a little bit of that reality, real person? Okay, and I don't know the answer here. This is just conversation. When you are in the Truth About Titusville page or in a Titusville crime page on the Facebook or on some internet forum of any kind, and there's a whole group of people, and any time that there's a crime or something that happens in a town that gets posted in there, then the brain of the person looking at that website is going to go, man, this crime is elevating. But if you take the whole totality of crime in that town and you didn't look at the internet all the time, it might, be going down as a trajectory, but just because it's being amplified on an internet site, it makes people, that the thousands of people that are on there it puts their fear up that, oh man, things are getting dangerous around here.
oh yeah,
Back when somebody was writing a play, it's represented in movies across. See, I'm a movie guy too, man. So I can reference it from a movie all day. There's so many movies out there in history, like even your old ones, like your Lonesome Doves.
Oh, those,
which is one of my favorite.
Oh, that was a miniseries.
Yeah, it was like a 3-part or
Tommy Lee Jones.
Yeah, oh man,
Duvall.
Yeah. What's his? He was so young back then. Silver Spoons kid.
Silver Spoon's
He was
kid.
the son.
The Tommy Lee Jones.
Tommy Lee Jones' son,
I can't recall the.
and then Robert Duvall is one of my favorite actors of all time.
Oh yeah, he did he did a great job. He was the I don't want to give any spoiler alerts. One of the friends died in the miniseries near the end.
Yep.
Tommy Lee Jones had to drag him and bury him in the exact same town where they spent their lives. Because before there's a prequel to Lonesome Dove. It's called
he brought him.
Comanche
He
Moon.
brought Robert Duvall all the way back. Tommy Lee Jones, because he got up there. He got shot by an Indian. And he shot him in the leg, and it was in a bad spot, and he did not want to live without a leg.
Yeah, he'd rather die with gangrene than to live with one leg.
Yep. And
Let's talk of pride.
that's just who he was, man. He was like that. His vanity is who he was, and that's what he said. And it's just such a good movie all the way around, man.
And the best thing is that Tommy Lee Jones's character stayed the stoic, tough guy, but as soon as he buried his friend, he broke.
Yep.
Which just, it just shows the longevity of how much a person can go and how strong a bond of friends is.
And how strong like a movie can you can watch a movie and how it can instill something in you to make you think about things in a different way than maybe you do before. And then when a guy writes a play, when a guy creates a symphony, and to them it's their language, it's their English, or it's their whatever. To somebody like some of us, it's something totally different. It might be a fly by night, we don't care, and it could have been that guy's lifetime achievement and brought him great success all across. And then that's just, I guess, the spectrum of humanity. It's wild how the internet brings in the change, just like back in the day. When people are writing plays and they're let's do something, let's we gotta cross this red line and go a little further, and let's do some human sacrifice stuff. Then back in the 80s there's some VHS like Faces of Death, and ours these people eating monkey brains.
Yeah,
and
that's
stuff.
what I remember.
And I remember like my mom and dad like rented these crazy movies to watch with their friends, and we were supposed to stay in our room, and we'd come out, and watch. Oh my God, you see what I saw? Then the internet comes out, and you can go on all these rotten.com and all these crazy websites.
I remember that website.
And like I was the guy that I had to see it. I wanted to see it. If I knew it was there, I have to see it.
Okay, that was me back in when I was a little chap, catching a sneak on Sunday night on PBS at 10:30. It was Monty Python.
Yeah.
And they'd say some shit like, and now full frontal nudity. They'd show a famous work of art,
Yeah.
But that was cutting edge back then, right?
Yeah, it totally was.
And well, that's the thing about this is these are the I guess there's a double-edged blade of the internet. On one hand, you have access to almost endless sources of information, especially with YouTube. If you want to see a clip of a movie that you once saw, you just want to see a certain scene, most likely you're going to have access to it.
Yeah.
If you hear a rumor of your favorite musician or playwright or even filmmaker about to make a movie, you can access, whether it's through Wikipedia or IMDb or even YouTube, to find any sort of info that you can grasp.
Yep.
But on the other side, it's akin to that of the kid who has a dessert before their dinner, thereby spoiling their dinner. You can actually become disappointed.
Yeah. How can you have any pudding if you don't eat your meat?
You
Sir?
don't eat your meat. You can't have any pudding. But for example,
And music brought that to us.
in this, even when I was a kid, there's this movie called The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Oh, yeah.
Based on it derives heavily from Alan Moore's graphic novel. But, I was crazy for League of Extraordinary Gentlemen because it featured all these literary characters that I read when I was a kid. Alan Quartermain, The Invisible Man, Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, Dorian Gray. I was stoked to see it. And the internet was out. But, at that time you couldn't find that much info, or at least I wasn't adept enough with the internet to find that info. But that made the viewing experience even more exciting.
Yeah.
That made the experience where there are more surprises where I was like, "Yep, that's that character. Yeah, I knew that character was about to appear." So that's the thing with what the internet provides us. It provides us with so much that you're once not bound to be filled with surprises.
Yeah.
You get the news early. Oh, surely there's going to be a reaction to the news, but eventually you'll be nullified.
Yeah.
When there's too much news, like if point in case,
Yep.
if someone's about to release, imagine if Stravinsky was to release his brand new ballet called The Rite of Spring, and we have no idea, but you release like hints or spoilers, like trailers, you're not going to be that surprised. You're like, oh, this ballet's going to have to do with human sacrifice.
Yep.
Oh, and the music doesn't sound that classical. It sounds scary, barbaric.
Yep.
So when you see, you're not going to get that much of a commotion out of it. I mean, you will get a commotion if there's a huge, if there's going to be a, sorry, hold on a second. There's going to be
Like reaction.
or like a split from the fan base.
Okay.
Like those who say that's
You're
not
gonna get a diversion, like the Star Wars people, man. You got,
Yeah, exactly.
You know, I don't like the new ones. I don't like the middle ones. I don't like this one. You know, the originals are the only ones that are good. The new ones can't be good. But then, from a perspective of a child, the new ones are amazing. You know, and the old ones are dumb looking. You know, but us as it's nostalgia comes into play.
exactly.
So many different, like it's the internet. It's you're right. It's a blessing and a curse. It's something that, like, going through school, I did good in school. You know, I loved going to school. It was more of a social thing for me, but I was smart and I could get through my school, got through the classes. And there's a handful of teachers that I really, they knew how to get the class's attention and how to have conversations and how to pique your interest. But it was because the class was different every day, or had different spice to it, or they kind of broke from the regular and they treated you with respect and listened to you. You know what I'm saying? Other than that, with school, man, I mean, unless it was the right teacher, I just get through it. You know, I wasn't like soaking it up and wanting to soak up this information, right? When I got to the internet, like when I first, at our house, there's a 56K modem, and we get these AOL discs, and they're trying to figure everything out and work at a computer, and you're teaching yourself something, right? When you're a kid, you take apart like your parents' stereo that broke, and you try to look and see where the wires misconnected, and you get interested and you learn something by doing that. Some people can read a book and learn that. Some people are hands-on and would take it apart and figure out how it works. The internet gives you all these different, tools and all this knowledge and sharing of information and communicating with people. So our brains go from, like, we're absorbing, information, but kind of slowly, not too much, not too crazy, computers coming. Now you're getting all this information from everybody from different angles, and it blows up, and then it desensitizes, and then people are finding out it can do this, and it's the same way, though, as when a TV first came out, or the radio first came out back in the day, and you could listen to a commercial, like marketing. When marketing was able to, when it grasped a new technology, it's a wild thing. The marketing is what blows it up, I feel like, and narratives can get put. I feel like it's a balancing act. In the same way in politics, when you have like a democracy and you have a dictatorship. The democracy might, in a true one. I'm not saying a country in any way. I'm just saying in principle, the freedom of everybody as a collective choosing and getting the right knowledge and trying to be as transparent as possible. We want this, open source situation, but a lot of crazy and bad things can happen. There's a lot of fear, a lot of risk. And the people that maybe fear that risk, they want to be in that safe. I want one person to make these decisions because it's worked in the past, and I don't want anything to change. You know what I mean? And they're valid mindsets. It's just based on the genetics of who you are or your experiences that you are grown into or whatever, and that's how you get into whatever you get into, and that's how your art transcends, and everything. But it's just, I don't know, it's wild. I'm rabbit holing the crap out of that, but that was wild.
It can transcend. Transcend.
Yeah.
It can transcend.
I was trying to sound as cool as Che when he got into the musical classical stuff, because he got all like real cool and deep in it. Like you brought in like you had some
He did.
perspectives and stuff going on. I'm like, whoa.
Well, he's
man.
fixing to lay it out
I'm
too.
gonna see if I can still.
Yeah.
I know. I was just trying to build you up. I was showing you my chops and what I was capable of.
We're gonna give you a C
And now it's your
plus. I'm just kidding.
plus.
No. Well, your input was perfect. Fits perfectly in the segue, because with all this quantity of knowledge that we gain, there's the negative side of it is that what you're getting is information, but are you getting truth, art, and lies? And when it comes to art and lies, there's the trick, because if it's art, you're creating something that's not realistic, but something to inspire, to give someone a visual. A lie is when you deliberately give information that's false, but you insist that it's true. Or that's one way.
When I create a unique dish, and serve it to somebody,
Scott's a good
it's
cook.
a part of an art. If I write a comic book story and create a comic on it, it's art. If I create a canvas painting and it's from my brain and it's my truth, it's coming from my heart, my truth, then it's art.
It's art. But if
musically, if you copy from someone, it's not.
no, and that's the thing about, if you can say I adapted this from an art form, that's cool. But or otherwise, that's plagiarism. And
it's all it's inspiration. I mean, and the internet takes those things and people and their views, and we've now crunched this data. We've been giving all of our data out, whether you have or haven't. And they still got it. Back in the day, we had yellow pages with all your stuff right there, same place. You know what I mean?
Fingers all walking.
You know what I'm saying? It's the same. You know what I mean?
Well, we have now. I'm sorry, Scott.
No, you go ahead.
What we have now, though, whether you have a platform like YouTube, Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook, or Twitter, or any other social media app I'm not aware of.
Threads is the new one.
I heard of the Threads.
Threads, the Instagram, Twitter.
Whether you, it's the dangerous things, and we've learned this from this whole from the whole Russia conspiracy with Facebook during the Trump administration.
Yeah.
Social media has become, actually, not even recently, years before that, it slowly became a mass production of muckraking. And to take you back to William Randolph Hearst, when yellow journalism started, where you can basically publish lies just to get the public on your side. Did Spain blow the Main? No, they didn't. But you publish it, you get enough outrage so that people can demand your government to go to war against a country that had nothing to do with the destruction of a ship. A media outlet can deliberately deliver false information if it satisfies its political agenda. The frightening thing about social media is that you don't even need the reporters to do that. You just need to start a rumor, and people who are on your side of the agenda
have enough people that followed you that got to see what you said, and however they spin it, and it's like when you in that classroom, you whisper to one kid, you tell them one thing, and they tell the next kid next to him, and then when you got all the way to the end of the classroom, the story was completely different than when it was when you started. That's the internet, which is an echo chamber.
A deliberate game is a game where you use the game telephone to deliberately spread false information. But all you need people to do is repost and repost. They might think it's truth, but all the while, who knows if we have so much for information spreading around that we don't know if people are spreading things that are true or not true. What we have to do is examine what people are posting. Yeah. But we have those that will read it and immediately, without examining, will say this is fact.
And that'll tie into the brain activity, right? The brain, the human brain. Like we there was a time when it was, hey, I have this job. I come home. I take care of my yard, my family, my kids. You got a wife at home, or even before that, It's we're going to land here from this boat on the East Coast, and we're getting to Oregon, and we're going to take this trail, and we're probably going to die, but this is a better life for us, and it's a goal, and it's not like I got to be here from 9 to 5, and I got maybe X amount of hours, on this day and this day to be able to, spend time with my family. No, it's every day I'm with my family, and we're trying to figure out how to make it together, right?
Exactly.
And we keep, realities have kept evolving and changing on what's your norm and what we create, within ourselves. And, but at the same time, back then it was like, your brain is going survival. We got to survive. We have to, figure out how to do this. And
Practicality.
and it's hard work and it's labor and it's now I mean it's the same, it can be, but it's also so much more. I mean, there's so much things that we're processing that we're not giving our brains, I feel like, enough time to process them because we're always to the next thing and to the next thing. Like I know I am. I feel like that's that ADD brain reality personality trait in some people that we get all this. Some people can handle it very well, like the hyper intelligent people handle that stuff and can tune it.
Oh yeah.
But they're also troubled internally.
It's
you know what I mean? It's not like a perfect science when you're smart, either.
No, forgive me. Yeah, it's a flood of information. It reminds me of Kate Blanchett and Indiana Jones 4.
Okay, yeah.
What was it? Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skulls.
Yep.
At the end, where she finally discovers the alien ship and she wanted to know everything, and all that knowledge is going in her head. She's like, too much knowledge.
Yeah.
And she that's basically us.
Yeah.
Because we're especially with YouTube Shorts or with TikTok, you're swiping, watching bits of information. Sometimes you don't even get past the 10 seconds. Like, all right, I've seen enough. I want to see the next one. I want to see the next one. I want to see the next one. And just jumping from info to info. And it's almost as bad as incorrectly summarizing an article just by reading the headline and moving on to the next thing.
Thank you for saying that. When I'm going on either, whether it's Twitter or if like on my, I'm at work or something, or I'm sitting here watching some TV and I'm scrolling around looking for some new stuff and I'm popping through some different websites. And when you look at an article and it says one thing and you click on it, and when you read the whole thing, it's totally different, or it's like leading, but not really giving you, or saying, hey, this person is corrupt, in a political way. And then when you read it, they're going, it's no new information than you already knew, but they just try to put their twist on it and kind of get you to click on theirs instead of the other guy that wrote almost the same thing. I hope we get to an internet at some point that can figure out ways to weed that. Like, that'd be something that would be cool.
It would.
But it's so much, because that's where the fear comes. You're seeing families argue over things that they read on the internet, because they think when you read this on this website or that one that it's real or not real. And there's a puppet behind there that owns that and is paying for that service and that website to be hosted, or that airtime to be on TV or whatever in your face. And that has an agenda.
It does.
That usually is tied to a ticker on a stock, exchange, or some type of investment, or some type of collective mindset trying to lead to one way. And so on top of, trying to worry about being scammed in reality in real life and keeping your home safe and, your family fed, you're fending off like bank accounts and debit card transactions. You're fending off internet people that are attacking you, or you can't go to a Target or here or there without maybe something happening, and you're going on the internet and you're seeing, man, I'm not going to Waffle House anymore because all I'm seeing is fights in Waffle Houses and badass girls catching chairs in the air and throwing them back and being Thor Waffle House worker ladies. And you're like, whoa, that's awesome. And then some people are like, I'm going because I want to. But we get when you see it on the internet so many times, you get desensitized to it. And then it's like you want the same attention. Like when I was a kid, we go to Taco Bell. We thought it was so cool. They started getting those little clings.
Clings?
Like on a window, you could take their marketing and they put it on their window, and it just went on there. It wasn't like stuck on there. You could just peel it off and pop it right back on, and peel it off and pop. It was a newer technology rather than having something glued onto
So
the
like
window that you had to chisel off.
The Mylar, is that what it
Yeah,
was?
so it was our thing. We thought we were cool if we could get we get little ones when they had the little ones. We peel them off while we're eating, and then we put them on our cars.
I don't understand.
And that was our
Free advertising for them, huh?
we're advertising.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like ridiculous stuff, but it was like then other people did it because we saw one other person do it, copy us, and we're like, oh man, it blows up. And when the internet gets that, I mean, every Taco Bell would have to close down because everybody's in there stealing all their stuff to put on their cars. And a TikTok back then, that's what would happen.
Oh yeah, I remember. Yeah,
Everything is a topic or a trending, and now the media now they make a lot of money just on commenting on what they see on the internet. Now, do you remember when like the news was just starting to talk about Twitter? They're like tweets. They were almost making fun of it. They were making fun of Twitter because they knew it was, they had to be against it because it was going to change the way that they earn money and the way they told news. It changed everything.
It was actually, an upcoming piece of technology that would subvert the overall credibility of the news. You're starting a digital platform where people can discuss not just their personal issues, but whether or not what is news.
Yep. And on top of that, they had little analytics on the bottom that said, well, this many people saw this. And when you watch TV, you didn't know what the ratings and how many views, and there was this behind the scenes system that you didn't know. So now it's right in front of you. So then people would just, all you need is one comment of someone to go, I wonder how many views this show on NBC got, and then this little YouTube clip's got 7 million, right? And they might only have 100,000. So you're like, well, that's more important than that because that means been seen more times.
Exactly.
Whether it's the right information or not. And once people figured that out, Twitter was, one of the, functions, Facebook, YouTube, and people try to police. And that's why people can't figure out the right way to police the stuff. Because if you release the Kraken, you know what I mean? You're going to get the Kraken. And if you try to contain the Kraken, you're going to get a different type of Kraken.
Well,
and
Krakens happen.
Yeah. So what's the balance? That's what I'm saying. I'm about the balance, and it's hard to find.
You need
nowadays.
a Medusa head.
It's hard to find. And by the way, I keep saying the word exactly because you're drawing very good points on it. It's actually a good thing, but this balance that we wish to regulate, truth and lies on the internet is our most important First Amendment right.
Yeah.
Or the right to express what we believe. And the trick is, in the end, one can say that the information they spread is an expression of their beliefs, and whether or not people want to believe it is up to them. And the crazy thing is, our only hope in this is for people to view and read maturely in the sense that whatever info they get, they owe it to themselves to review whether or not what they're reading is true or not. Now, one can say, well, then you just have to assume that everyone's going to lie. Pretty much, yeah. You just assume that everyone wants you to believe what they're saying, and you have to be the judge of it.
Yeah.
You're not judging for the world. You're judging for yourself.
Yeah.
And you need to determine whether this information sounds right or. And I know one would say, well, that means I have to read. That means I have to review. That means I have to. At most, you can just say, all right, I heard you. I read that. I'll consider that.
Yeah.
Let me see a differing opinion.
Yeah.
At least if one doesn't want to review info, the crazy thing is that most people, it's not they don't have time. They have time. They don't have the will or the patience to. That's my conclusion, is that the reason why people are jumping to conclusions because they might not have the patience to stop, pause, not even investigate, but just consider or put it under advisement.
I feel like there's a self, you have to self-regulate. You have to know, kind of, hey, I know what I'm doing right now. Have some self-awareness, right? But there's a compare and contrast I could give you. It's like kind of lost my train of thought here. I had it really good. I mean, I was ready for you.
Take your time. It's your show.
In real life, when you're talking to somebody, like I'm sitting here telling you something, and I'm telling you how amazing of a viola player that I was back in the day, and you're sitting there, yeah, Scott, that's really cool, man, like awesome. In real life, you can be behind the scenes in your brain processing, this guy is something, and he's full of it, he's this, he's that. Or going, man, this guy's awesome, man. He's, we're having a great conversation. I don't agree with everything he's saying, but we're having a good conversation, and we're having it in person.
Exactly.
Then you'll have that person, though. There's a spectrum. You have that person, and that person, you're going to say something, and I have really good friends that are like this, and they're like my best friends, and I'll love them no matter what. But if I said something that was even remotely off, or my, the way I said a word wasn't pronounced a way, you get corrected. And when someone gets corrected a lot, you get frustrated.
Yeah.
And when you get frustrated, then it turns into something it probably shouldn't need to be. And then there's people that are conversationalists that know how to weed through that, or know how to support the conversation and get the correct output, And then there's people that just don't, and they're everything's argumentative. And usually it's based on a state of something that you're personally, battling or going through, a life experience, whatever, no judgment, but it's just off, right? The internet, you don't have that person that's right in front of you. If you spell something wrong on the internet, someone's going to come in and recorrect the spelling. It's like almost like an internet AI database that's coming back. It's like spell check on Word, or whatever. It's coming through and underlining all the mistakes, and you got to, when you look at that spell check before, and you got to come through and fix. Remember the old Word? You had to go fix every misspelled thing, and it'd take you hours. And you're like, I already spent hours typing this 18 pages. Now I got to go through and correct all my mistakes. But then Word came out with something that you could just hit one button and it would fix it all for you.
Yeah.
And it took that one part off of your brain to go, okay, I'm back to normal again. I don't have to be overwhelmed with this and be frustrated. I feel like we're just creating things and then trying to find ways to level ourselves out in it and then get to the next stage and the next cool thing. And it's like, wait till we start really, really flying cars. We're going to be a mess.
It's going to be a hot mess.
The thing is, we're on a locomotive of not even a locomotive, a bullet train of technological advancement, and with every piece of technological advancement, there is a catch. There's a catch, and when it comes to from what you described, we, on one hand, it's good to be self-conscious, or not self-conscious, be self-aware that what you post and what you publish is devoid of errors.
Yeah.
That you want people to know that you not only you make yourself clear, but you're saying it correctly.
Yep.
On the other hand, what's crazy is that when people read something that's posted, for some reason, and I'm just saying the word people a lot in general.
Yeah, exactly.
But like, if you're to see it posted on the internet, especially if it's a channel with many views, like again, when you say like this view has more people, so it must be the most respected one, one might expect some form of professionalism, therefore correctly written paragraphs, truthful, well-researched information, because one mishap, and they'll forget that to err is human, and they might unleash, you're not all that you say you are because you made this mistake. And when we go back during the days when information was not even when information was published slowly, it was published at a good rate, but audiences perceived information in groups. Nowadays, everyone gets information all at once. All they had to do is just click on Google Chrome or go to
turn on notifications,
and they get all their info, and the whole world starts viewing information and start registering and start expressing their comments, whether it's against the author or against the content. But before that, when you just had television and newspapers, people would limit their discussions within social groups, and usually those social groups were people who had an understanding with each other, unless you're in a bar.
Exactly.
But the point of
Now
what
everybody's got a T-shirt with what they believe or who they're about, so you see them immediately, and you want to attack them, and what color shirt you're wearing matters sometimes. Sometimes it doesn't. I mean,
not even
we're like birds. We've turned colors into a whole thing. You know what I mean?
Well, no, we're not even just shirts. Now we went through the trouble of creating wristbands where a color represents a cause. Like,
oh man,
just so you know, I'm on this team.
Oh yeah, dude. Me and my dog, we buy 4 ocean bracelets. We're on the team of saving the ocean, and they are using it, and it does help and all. But when you listen to the guy's story that created these, companies they're like, we know this is the right cause. Everybody knows this is the right cause, but everybody has, some kind of underlying reason why they're going to either, pride or just denial or just not wanting to face or, stress, whatever the case may be, just doesn't want to believe that it. But they had to turn that into a business to make money, to sell bracelets, just to do the right thing, to try to monetize that as an industry of collecting trash rather than just letting it lay. And it had to be marketing had to lead that push. And like for anything nowadays, it's like we're getting so much information that it's like the marketing genius of a jingle or a song or
or even a meme,
a movie like Idiocracy. Everybody talks about it now because it's coming true. The Simpsons, all these episodes, all these episodes that like what they talk about and joke about, it comes true. And we got aliens now, guys. We got biomatter that's everywhere. And it's being studied all over the place. And there's aliens. They're all our friends. Like one of us 3 could be an alien. And it's so cool now, right? It's marketing.
It is.
It's all marketing that's taken us to a level of either we've been able to be cool enough in life to get around like-minded people to keep the hive calm and long term, or we're all in chaos and we're charging freaking the White House because somebody told us to, or we're flying over to Ukraine to fight for something that we believe in, or maybe on the other side when people used to join some of these groups that are in the Middle East that they believed in their ideologies. Well, and it's all what you read and what you say. It's all marketing.
Well, the thing is, that is one of the roles of the arts. It's always been a vessel for, not just for marketing. I mean, art is supposed to be an expression, but that expression can be a vessel of a political cause, of a social cause, or even a marketing strategy. Find it in movies and songs. You can find it even in pictures and memes, as you said.
Banksy we even mentioned him earlier. It was like he's like a kind of this mysterious person, and his art is for a purpose. Like there's something for a discussion to be had, and it's almost like nowadays it seems like it's all about how much money you can make on that piece of art once he puts it somewhere, and how fast it can get it to an auction, and how to an auction house so you can make that money on it. But it's like art is always for a purpose and for a meaning and to be talked about. I don't know.
I mean, like it's surprising on how like influential the arts. I mean, it's not so much surprising. It's the gravitas that art has on the psyche of people. I mean, even Carl Jung has talked about archetypes, that how we based archetypes on not just on our personalities, but on our characters. But our archetypes can be derived on things that have influenced us, including the arts.
Yeah.
Point in case, the boy who idolizes a superhero and tries to live up to that person's standards. And they have a code, and eventually they, as they grow older, they wonder whether to alter that code or stick to that code. Point in case, like in Victor Hugo's Les Miserables, you have Javert, the policeman, who he grew up, when he was a kid, he grew up with criminals. He was just born into that class, but he did not want to be part of that. And as he became a dedicated officer of the law, he believed that what matters was law and order. Doesn't matter what your intentions are. What matters is that there's order established. And he did not it did not matter what your character was.
Yeah.
If you did not obey the law, you have to be dealt with the consequences. But then, not only was his life saved by Jean Valjean, the very man that he was hunting down, that he wanted to put into bars, despite knowing that Jean Valjean had become a different person, he believed he was still a criminal deep down inside. But Jean Valjean told Javert, just let me get this boy Marius, the boy that his adopted daughter was in love with, to get him home, to get him taken care of, and I promise I'll come back and meet you, and you can arrest me. Just let me do this one thing. Let me do this one thing for my daughter, and I'll take care of you. He did not believe him, and so Javert waited for him, and Valjean returned, says, "Here I am," and he could not believe that such people that can be pure in character, that they can change and become better people, that he was shaken because he was truly a good person, but his code of the law would create an injustice to such a good person, whether to put a good person behind bars and stick to his code, or to break his code and deliver a different form of justice to this good person. Hence, Javert told Jean Valjean just to leave, and he threw himself off the bridge and killed himself because he could not come to terms with this code that he lived up to. And now he realized that things change, and that's a lesson that people would understand, is that things change.
Yeah.
And this derives from how people take inspiration from art. Not just in marketing or presentation, but there are lessons to be learned. It echoes as an examination of how things happen, circumstances to be studied, lessons that can be learned from the circumstances. Same reason why the ancient Greeks had plays and tragedies to teach lessons. In medieval times, they had morality plays.
Yeah.
Yes, they were religious, but they had to teach lessons to the common folk to remind them why they should behave, other than a nice way to keep order. But
Yeah. Or you can be a gladiator, bro, and you can fight it out and let us all for our entertainment.
Well,
Watch it, and that's going to teach you a lesson not to do what the gladiator did to get in there.
yeah, with the circumstance, you're talking about Maximus.
Yeah, all of that stuff.
all
Yeah,
that.
I watched Spartacus, Roman Empire, all those TV series. I watched all that stuff. I love it.
But
I eat that stuff up.
the crazy thing about art is that it coincides with this mass production of information that's been going on for over a decade. Yeah. It reminds me of this. You saw the movie Inherit the Wind. It's based on the play. The play and the movie is loosely based on the Scopes monkey trial.
Okay.
Teacher arrested for teaching evolution in a town in Kansas. Clarence, the defense lawyer who's based on Clarence Darrow, I think he's called Drummond in the play. He makes a speech to the jury to explain to them that learning evolution is not a bad thing, that to learn evolution doesn't mean you have to abandon your faith, but it's a change that you have to embrace progress. You have to give up something that made life somewhat either accommodating or something precious. He says progress has never been a bargain. You have to pay for things. He said that it's like talking to a guy at a counter who says, a all right, sir, you can have a telephone, but you will lose privacy and the charm of distance, meaning that you will appreciate people more when you seldom communicate with them. Yeah. He says that, Mister, you may conquer the air, but the birds will lose their wonder, and the clouds will smell of gasoline.
Yeah.
And then he says that Darwin took us to a hilltop from which we can see where we came from.
Yep.
But to have this, this is what Drummond says, that we must give up our faith in the pleasant poetry of Genesis. Mm-hmm. Now, I think he went too far when he says we have to give up our faith. One doesn't have to give up their faith. One just has to compromise. Mm. Now,
that compromise is an important part. And in a layman term, I'm going to throw it on a Facebook little thing real quick. If you're in a Facebook group, okay, and you see somebody post something that you don't agree with, your balance and your understanding is going to be, do I want to respond to that? Or do I want to not let that bother me and not make that about me to feel where I feel like I need to say something and just move on and let that be what that is in a layman's term kind of situation? Because I feel like that's one thing that you see in these microcosms on the internet and even in real life, with just little basic, you can be with your kids, just a simple misunderstanding or feeling that you need to be heard in an area maybe you don't. I learn that lesson all the time. It's it's something to self-analyze yourself and look at yourself and say, okay, this is something that I do that causes this to happen a whole lot. How do I fix it? It can be a very hard thing, and it's sometimes, pride or not wanting to change or not even feeling like what you've done is wrong can be such a barrier to make that evolution. That's why evolution is so hard and takes so long and it's hard to process. Because it's like that, every time I dig 4 feet, 3 feet of sand fall in, so I've only really dug 1 foot. But man, we're really down here. That's why the technology of how to advance to this takes so long. We're learning things at such a fast pace right now. We got fusion happening. We got these blockchains and stuff that are going down. Not even talking about cryptocurrency, but just a blockchain of 100 little storage files that all are encrypted together, that all these things that connect, and it has not been hacked yet. And there's people all over the world that are just trying to hack this, thing and how to solve this. Just like when the internet first came out and everybody wanted to learn how to, create these little generators to get every password as fast as possible to see if I can hack into this website and figure stuff out, So the knowledge and the knowledge is we're wanting it at the speed of light right now. Hypersonic. We want everything immediately as fast as possible across oceans. If you said something happened over here in France, I want to know about it in Florida within, half of a millisecond. You know what I'm saying?
Well, that's the catch, in that
and then we're playing catch up.
Well, going back to the analogy of the bartering counter.
Yeah,
we getting all this info on the spot. There's so much, not just news or information, but forms of art that's coming our way. But at the same time, there's so much that it's too much to take in, and not only that, but immediate reaction at the same time. So you can have all your news on the spot. You can have it come straight to your home, but you will not have the time to take it in. You will not have the privilege to share it with one person or another. It just explodes suddenly.
Yeah. We got NFTs. We've dove into that. There's artists like Beeple that, he was a great digital artist and very well known. And he took some new technology and a trend, and he went out there and made $68 million on a piece of art and made it, and all this stuff. So you have people like Banksy that kind of, back in, there was a Warhol and people that were doing their crazy stuff back in the day. You had on the media side, you had what's the guy from Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas?
Actor?
Hunter
S.
Thompson. He had his way. and it's like I feel like I don't want to frame this in a way what needs to happen, and we'll jump off of here. I know we've been
I can do this
talking
all day.
for an hour and a half right now.
It's been enjoyable.
So I just say, I'll figure out a break within this, but we're gonna keep talking, and we want to keep adding on to this after we're done, because I feel it was really good conversation.
Oh, likewise.
You know what I mean? I love talking deep like this, and I don't have people to talk too deep like this sometimes, and I'll go over to T's house sometimes, and like he's someone I can talk deep with, and he'll get into it too. And I just love this type of conversation.
Yeah, we're so glad to have you here,
Yeah.
Che.
I appreciate
For
it.
real.
Like, big time, man.
Yeah.
Because like that's what we all learn, or like as kids, like here's your 5 news stations, here's your 4 channels on TV you can learn stuff from. Then there's the internet. You can go get all this information and chat back and forth with people, and social media blows up. And then all of a sudden podcasting kind of starts to happen. And there's all these certain people doing radio podcasts. And it went to Joe Rogan. And there's all these different podcasters. There's these true crime ones that are like, getting you into the stories of what really happened. But there's if there's Lord of the Rings, if there's a TV show that's amazing or a series that's amazing out there's a podcast that you can actually go on, and there's people talking about it. As soon as the episode's over, you can go on a live thing and listen to people talk about it. And like Silas, my son, spends more time watching people game on YouTube and following people's YouTube channels. He doesn't watch TV series. There's not one TV series that he could say I watch all the time. Not one. And all the kids that we know all say that.
There's
right?
so many of them.
It's insane. It's amazing, but it's insane at the same time.
My Netflix queue, not just Netflix. I have more than one app. Even on YouTube, there are podcasts with episodes that I like. Even Two Bears 1K.
Oh, I love Two Bears. Yeah.
Yo Mama's
Dude,
Critical Drinker.
all of the like Tiger Belly.
That's a good one.
Dude, what's the one with? There's one. Fighter and the Kid.
I never seen that one.
That was a great one. Brandon Schaub was an MMA guy turned comedian. But all of these guys, what do they do? These guys are thinking the same thing that I feel like a lot of us think is like, okay, I can go home and be a zombie and watch the same things and okay, National Geographic's amazing and Bill Nye the Science, all this interesting stuff, man, it's gravitating you if you want. Now we can have these conversations, and we can listen to people that are having these conversations with these guys that are, you have to pay money to listen to these guys because you have to go to Harvard, or you have to go to a certain school to get this doctor, or to get this philosopher, to get this scientist, to get this dietitian, get whatever this person is. You can find a podcast, and you can listen to a long form podcast while you're driving, while you're doing anything. When I read, I fall asleep. I can listen to stuff, and I can multitask and do things and listen to stuff, and I absorb it, and it makes me think, and it makes me like, I feel like I've learned more by being able to listen to other people talk, and they're not acting like they know what's right or wrong. They're just having a conversation. And a lot of people, when they hear like a podcast or a conversation, I don't like that podcast because I just don't believe everything that he says. And it's like, it's not about believing what people say all the time. It's about just listening and taking the information and picking little bits and pieces that might be meaningful to you. You don't want to download everything from anybody. And that's where I feel like the desensitization needs to happen. It kind of close out what I'm saying is we're all so worried about whatever the people are doing or seeing or thinking or talking about or believing in. And it's like we need to get over ourselves. And I feel like, all this data and all this stuff that's combusting, and I don't think it's anything that's this dangerous thing or anything. I just think that more and more people got to hear other people saying things like, you just need to let bygones be bygones, move on. Everything's not about you. If that person says a word wrong or in a wrong way or says something mean, who knows what's going on? If he says something that's more of a dig on your culture or something like that, that's not cool. And stand up for yourself, but be respect that. there's a way to talk to somebody to get a better result than just anger or upsetness or frustration. We need to, like, the more we can let things move on, the more information I think we can absorb and retain and process in a safer, better pipeline.
Absolutely. And the thing is, like, whether these unpleasant memories come in the form of the way how someone spoke to you, or if you have done something embarrassing that it's painful to remember, these things, even like moving on, doesn't mean forgetting about them. They will recur. They will come back to you.
Yep.
What matters is how you react to them. Will you let them get you down? I remember I had a conversation with, I don't know if you were there, T. I was having a conversation with Monica about it. What the Greeks, it was similar to a concept of the Greeks called the fates, spirits or entities which plague a person who has done wrong or has committed something taboo. It plagues you. Now, in the human psyche, I guess I'm just without further research, I'm guessing that when a person is plagued with unpleasantness, whether they read something that upsets them or hear something that upsets them, or someone says something that upsets them, or they have done something that they know puts them in a spot where they know, I messed up there.
Yeah.
In the end, it's like what you said, let bygones be bygones. It's equivalent to that of considering what you're reading, not to jump to conclusions. Don't jump to conclusions about yourself. Don't jump to conclusions about people. We all make mistakes. We all have different opinions. What matters is, am I going to antagonize those I know? Am I going to antagonize within myself, within my own conscience? Knowing that in the long run it's going to cause problems with me.
Yeah.
And understandably, when we're in the moment, we seldom see that insight.
Yeah.
But again, that's what we need to chill out.
We'll dig on this more, guys. And I feel like it's like you got religion, right? A lot of religions, at their core, it's about trying to find your inner peace in your soul and having a pure soul, and living in the best way possible. There's always like a thing to that. It's a commonality that we all want to have that inner peace and that happiness and that, and it's a hard thing to do, and the internet just made it harder pretty much.
Oh, yeah.
So
Overflow.
with that big web of, you can have like a choice fatigue with all this, and you got me thinking.
Choice fatigue, I like that. It's a good word.
That Che sent me a birthday card recently. It kind of made me vibe on this. Like, where are you at? Are you, you got the poo vibe all the time? Or what kind of vibe you got? What are you rocking on average? And he wrote me this quote from Marcus Aurelius that made me want to be like, I'm going to keep my paintbrush out, and I'm going to be painting my soul with good vibes instead of the poo vibe. The quote was that
so see, I'm trying to remember the quote that I wrote down.
About coloring your soul.
Let's see, coloring the soul. Come on, what?
I'm gonna find it.
And I remember.
I'm gonna beat Che to it.
Please find. I remember well when I wrote it down for you. Your
soul is colored.
Let's see. Let me check it out as well. Hold on a sec. What on earth? Why is it escaping me? Why is it when it comes to information and I would normally retrieve it?
The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts.
So you're rocking what vibes? You just got to make sure this is choice fatigue, but you can't be wearing that I can't be wearing that poo vibe or the disgruntled vibe, because it takes a pie wedge away from me that could be like a hell yeah vibe or a chill vibe. You know what? You've actually been someone over the last couple of years of my life to help with that vibe. Cool.
Likewise.
And,
awesome.
Like in a very big
both.
way, because I have circles of friends that they're my favorite people in the whole world. I love everything about them. But as you grow and you're seeking a certain type of
Transcendence.
yeah, you know what I mean? It's having like a circle of positivity. Maybe you need. Maybe you're down and need that lift up. You know, you have to,
Need it like water.
you do, man. And I was at a point I felt like I really needed it. And you know, everybody gives it in their own ways, you know, and it's all accepting. But certain people elevate you, man. And you made me, you know, inner think about things and try to be better with those things. And it's
Because you got that paintbrush in your hand, you're literally painting your own, you're dyeing your own soul.
It's find that those people that try to make you better, whether it's financially, whether it's, you know, mentally, whatever the case may be. You know, we all are healers in some way.
Don't invest in the poo vibes.
Yeah, man. Scroll past it.
As someone with a cut, we're reminded it will heal. It will heal in time. Was with a friend. One reminds you, just so you know, you're not as bad as you think you are. No,
that's a good point.
No one's born. I don't think anyone is born to. No one's born to become such a negative aspect for others. It's based on the choices that they make.
Yep.
But with the right environment, with the most accommodating environment, and that environment consists of supportive friends, one doesn't necessarily need to have sycophants in their life.
Yep.
But people who are kind, supportive, the opposite of toxic.
It would be nice to have like people that listened and followed me and did everything I asked them to do.
Timothy,
You know, there is a balance. I feel like I can have a balance in my life and have people follow me and do what my bidding.
Well, I just want my my
But
life
be
would
nice
be
to people
perfect
at the same time.
if people just worshiped me all the time.
That would be nice.
And just liked all of my videos. I think to me that would be support.
And then eventually I would just hate the fact that so many people like me so much. Like, it's so annoying. People just want to talk to me and get my picture. All right, guys. This was a great episode. To be continued.
That was so much fun.
Yeah, we gotta.
Dude, thanks for coming.
Thank you, Scott.
Thank you so much.
We'll mix it up too. Like we got some ideas to where we can eventually, like, we got to get T's studio back to going again.
Yeah.
And once we get it going, we're gonna be doing podcast over there.
Oh yeah.
We're gonna be doing some portable. There was one I know you guys were gonna set up. I think he had some car trouble or something. But he had this whole thing set up. He had like some wine and some candlelit thing out back, and you guys had the whole like jungle behind you, and all the tall grasses. I think he even had some gators that he brought there from Frank. I think Frank brought gators to do gator calls in the background for ambiance.
Yeah.
And then you had a car issue or something, and then he was really like sad about it, and I lifted him up and told him that you probably did it on purpose, but.
Nah.
It's okay.
Yeah, I love to evade things by lying. That doesn't make me a bad person. It just makes me a false person.
You know, it gives us tips on what we're supposed to do, and we don't want to do things that we don't want to do. T, I'm sorry, man, but my sister's in town all weekend. There's no way I can do it.
We just need to present our friends with false information. It's up to them to not wonder if we're lying to them.
Yeah.
Hey, guys, I have an important announcement to make.
Sure.
No, I don't. But, so a smart alecky vulture lands next to his buddies who are macking on a carcass, and all these buddies stop gorging for a second, and they turn their beaks toward their newly arrived pal. And guess what he said? Carry on.
Daisy's in a tube top, screaming from the top of her lungs. This all ends tonight. Daddy's on the floor, he's screaming for more, saying you're gonna be alright. Daisy's in a tube top, screaming from the top of her lungs. This all ends tonight. Daddy's on the floor, he's screaming for more, saying you're gonna be alright.
Dude, that shit's killer. Oh, dude, that was awesome.